Remember to pause often while you're watching me do these problems.
All right, here is the practice test paper section. I hope you already tried it and now you're watching maybe if you felt a little bit confused still. And I want to make sure you understand that this is set up just like the test will be, where you'll have a paper part where you have to balance 5 equations. And then the second page of this you're going to use later, and it's scratch paper with the same equations on it that are on the online test. And so you might not choose to use it or need to, but it's there in case it helps you to have something to write on instead of just the online part. But this first page you do need to balance here on Notability and then submit it for your practice test points, but then also when you take the test you'll have a section like this too. So when we're balancing equations, we can think of our song that we don't change the subscripts, but we need to count the atoms from side to side, and then we use a coefficient to multiply, and then we want to make sure that they're equal from left side to the right side. So my first step that I think of is to underline and count. So I'm going to use colors for each element so it's easier to compare them. So I'm going to count the H. H with a little 2 means there's 2 H's. And I'm going to jump over to the other side of the arrow and count these H's and use that same blue so you can see it better. So those actually are balanced yet, or right now, but sometimes the others aren't. So 2 O's, now cross over to see the O's, and there's only 1. So I see that my H's are balanced, but these O's are not balanced. And so what I just did was step 2, compare side to side. If I was just answering, is it balanced? I would say no. But if I have to balance it, now I need to go to step 3, which is to add a coefficient to the side that needs more. Okay, so the side that needs more is on the right side of the arrow, the products. I need to make that 1 bigger. So a big number in front is the coefficient, and that multiplies. So when you put the coefficient there, don't forget to multiply. The coefficient multiplies all of the atoms in that molecule. So I'm going to make sure I multiply the 2 in the front, the big coefficient, times the 2 subscript, and that means the H's are now 4, and the O, 2 times the 1, means the O's are now 2. So now my O's balance 2 and 2, the orange letters there you see are the orange numbers, but that changed my H's where they don't balance anymore. So sometimes you have to go back, compare side to side again, and then add a coefficient to the side that needs more. So if I look back now, I see the H's on the left and the H's on the right are not equal. The side that needs more now is the left side. So I put a big 2 in front because 2 times 2 is 4. So my coefficient needs to multiply it to make the number that I need to balance. So now it's balanced. Everything below the line there is just showing my work. What I really want to see when I balance an equation is the correct coefficients in the correct places. Let's do the next one. I'm going to count the CA on the left here, 1. Jump over the arrow or under the arrow, 1 on the right. The O's, I'm going to use a new color, 1. Jump over, and I have 2. So now I'm comparing side to side. The CA's with 1 each is good, but the O's, we see a 1 on the left and a 2 on the right. And so I'm going to look at step 3 here, add a coefficient to the side that needs more. The side that needs more is the 1 because it's less. So I'm going to think, what do I multiply by 1 to make it equal to the 2? And I need to put a 2 then. 2 times 1 means that now the CA is 2, but that also multiplied the O that I wanted to. So now I need to go back. Sometimes you have to go back and check. Now the 2 and the 1 are not balancing for the CA. So the one that needs more, I'm going to put a coefficient, the big 2 in front. 2 times 1 is 2 again. And so now they balance. The numbers below help me to see that they're balanced. 2 and 2, and then 2 and 2. But up above I see this is what I really need to see, is the coefficients in the right places. Let's try the next one. Li 1, jump across. Li 2, not balanced. But O 2, and jump across. O 1, not balanced. Now sometimes I look ahead a little and I see that my Li, if I start with this Li, I might have to fix it again later because the O is bonded to the Li over here on the right, and it's going to change it. So let's look at the O first. And I see O2, or 2 on the left and only 1 on the right. So where I need more, I need to add the coefficient. The coefficient's always the big number in front. Don't change the subscripts. So 2 times 2 means on this molecule I now have 4 Li, but I have a total of 2 O, which is what I wanted. 2 times 1 is 2. So remember, the coefficient multiplies. 2, 2, 4, 2, 1, 2. Now I'm going to check because that made my O's balance, the 2 on the 2, the light green, 2, 2. But now my Li, the blue, 1 on the left and 4 on the right. And so where I need more is where I need a coefficient, since coefficient multiplies. So to make 1 and 4 balance, I need to put a big 4 in front, because 4 times 1 is 4. Now the Li's balance with 4 each. Remember, it's kind of like a recipe where if I'm going to make the products on the right side, I can't do that without starting with enough reactants on the left. Let's do this next one. Ca1, jump over, Ca3, Hg3, jump over, Hg1, N1, jump over, N2. Now, they're all different, aren't they? So remember what I said before, like sometimes if you start with one, like our Ca here, Ca1 and 3, if I fix this Ca, it's all by itself. It's an element. I can fix that later because I'm wondering if something might change that. Like we saw before, sometimes the coefficient changes something we don't want it to change, but then we have to fix that. So I'm going to go to one of these that's bonded. So the Hg and the Hg here. And now I see 3 on the left and only 1 on the right. So the one that needs more is where I need a coefficient. And 3 times 1 will give me the 3 that I need. So now the red 3Hg, 3Hg, that balances. But now the pink, N, 1 on the left and 2 on the right. So the one that needs more is where I need my coefficient. So the 1 is less. I'm going to put the big 2 in front. And you see now I did do that. What I was talking about where something messed up. This is one that I already had balanced. Oh well. So the 2 times 3 is 6 Hg now. But that did fix my N's. 2 times 1 is 2. So now my N's are good. But that messed up my Hg. So what if that does happen? I would go back. You can't change the 2 we just did. You need that because of the N. So the 3, the Hg on the other side, is where we made a mistake. So I'm going to just erase that and start over there. So that was the wrong coefficient, it turns out. So there's 1 with no coefficient, so go back to no coefficient and count. And then now we got to make the 1 and the 6 balance. So it's easy to multiply times 1. It means I need a 6 here. 6 times 1 is 6. So now those balance. The HGs, the red 6s are balanced. Now let's double check our CAs. The blue, 1 on the left and 3 on the right. So that is not balanced. So I'm going to put a coefficient where I need more. The one that only has 1 is where I need more, and I'm going to use a 3 to make it 3. Because remember, that multiplies. So 3 times 1 is 3. Now I see my blue 3s, 3, the CA 3, 3, the HG 6, 6, the N 2, 2. It's all balanced. And I'm just putting a box around here so you focus in, like when at the end, really what we want to see are those coefficients that I have in that dark green color. One more. AL2, jump over, AL1. Notice there's no subscript there. It's ALI3, so there's only one AL. O3, jump over, O1. K1, jump over, K2. I1, jump over, I3. Now everything's bonded to something, so it's we don't really have one like an element that we should wait on. So I'm just going to jump in from the left side here, AL2, and over here I only have one AL. So where I need more, I'm going to put a big coefficient in front. Then that coefficient multiplies all. So 2 times 1 for the AL is 2, like I wanted. But that also multiplied my I. 2 times 3 means I now have 6 I. Next one, I'm going to go back to the left and go to the next element that I see, which is the O. O3 and then O1. So where I need more is where I put a coefficient. Don't change subscripts, so I have to put a 3 and it has to go in the front because 3 times 1 is 3. And now those balance, the 3's. So my ALs and O's are good. Let's go to the K. On the left side I have a 1, and on the right side, oops, I made a mistake. I didn't multiply all. So remember that the K is multiplied by the coefficient as well. So 3 times 2 means I have 6K here. So now let's look at the K on the left, 1. If I need to make those balance, I can't change the one that's more. I can only make the one that's less and that needs more bigger. So I'm going to put a big 6 in front. And that's going to make this 6. And it also changes the I, 6 times 1 to 6. Now let's look at the I. Now I have 6I on the left and I have 6I on the right. So that's actually balanced. So if we double check, I'm going to get rid of these lines. Getting a little messy. I see the blue, AL, 2 on both sides. The red, O, 3 on both sides. The purple, K, 6 on both sides. And the pink, I, 6 on both sides. So it is balanced. If you don't understand what I just did, please come to a Google Meet. It'll be much easier to teach you face to face, and I would love to see you or any of your teachers.